CTV News with Angela Mackenzie.
Good evening. A woman is dead and a man is in critical condition tonight in Montreal's Saint Michel neighborhood. Police were called to an apartment on 9th Avenue near Cremazie Boulevard just before 2 p.m. They say they found a man with serious injuries to his upper body and an unresponsive woman inside the apartment. A command post has been set up and the investigation is ongoing. Well, in less than a week, the U.S. will impose 50% tariffs on a range of Canadian goods. That's if a deal isn't reached. Here in Quebec, the impact depends entirely on what you sell. But for one farmer, the conversation goes well beyond tariffs. Sweeta Rafsi has more.
Montreal denim maker Naked and Famous say they're not too worried about potential tariffs.
90% of our products or 95% of our products are not affected, but it is true that we do also make 100% cotton t-shirts, and I believe that those will be affected.
Quebec businesses are bracing for the August 19th deadline as the U.S. administration has once again threatened tariffs on a range of Canadian goods. This time it's 50%.
Of course, it's annoying, and I would rather it not be there. But we're going to push on and just, do our best.
But dairy farmer Angus McKinnon says he's not too worried about the heavy tax. It's what Canada might give away at the table.
The last USMCA negotiations, we conceded 4% of our national market access to the U.S. Well, that is 4% that we don't get to profit from.
As trade negotiations between the two countries continue, the U.S. is eyeing Canada's dairy sector. The country's supply management system that protects the sector has been cited by the U.S. as a key irritant.
Putting things into perspective, the state of Wisconsin produces more milk than the country of Canada.
McKinnon says it comes down to politics, as Donald Trump has a strong Midwestern voting base. Recently, Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley told the Canadian press that Trump's tariff threats should serve as a wake-up call to Canada to make some changes. The Dairy Processors Association of Canada say they are disappointed to once again see dairy drawn into a broader trade dispute.
We have to feed our country and not rely on others in order to feed our country, and not be dictated by other countries on how we feed our country.
From denim to dairy, Quebec industries are hoping Ottawa holds the line. Sweeta Rafsi, CTV News.
A law firm says the courts have approved a $31 million class action settlement involving sexual assault in the Catholic Church. The lead plaintiffs say they were sexually abused by parish priests when they were children in the Quebec City region in the 1950s and 60s. They filed their suit in 2020. Dozens of victims have 90 days to submit a claim outlining the alleged abuse and how it affected their lives. Residents gathered in Point Claire today for a milestone demonstration. Today marked the 300th protest to save Fairview Forest. Anastasia Dextrine reports.
For 300 Saturdays, residents from around Point Claire have hit the corner of Fairview Avenue and Brunswick Boulevard to fight to protect this stretch of green.
It is our lungs. It is our air conditioner. It protects us from the floods.
The roughly 50-acre area known as Fairview Forest is home to trees, wetlands, and wildlife, but it's been threatened by development for years. While protesters have helped to protect roughly 55% of the area, members of the Save Fairview Forest group say the other 45% remains at risk.
What we're hoping to see is that the forest is protected in perpetuity.
Geneviève Lucier is the group's president, and she says she's waiting to see what will come of two studies that have been commissioned by the city of Point Claire.
There's one about ecosystem services that the forest offers, including other green spaces on the territory of Point Claire. And the second is a study, an ecological characterization study. So basically what kind of species are included in the forest. And those studies will be done very soon.
Lucier hopes the new data will provide the scientific backing the city needs to preserve the area by law. In a statement to CTV News, the mayor of Point Claire, John Belvedere, said climate change is here and now, and the upcoming ecological studies will help to determine how much more of the forest can be protected. Meanwhile, protesters say the matter is made more pressing by the species in the forest that are at risk.
The Point Claire train station right at the edge of the forest here was found to be the highest population of the brown snake. Studies that were done to give them the numbers and things were all adamant that any work that would be done here on the forest was basically the end of the brown snake's population in this region.
It's one of the many reasons why the fight for Fairview Forest is far from over. And until then, it's 300 protests and counting. Anastasia Dextrine, CTV News.
Several products made by Clément Le Gourmand have been recalled because they can make people sick. The affected products are duck liver mousse, liver pâté with cognac, and country-style pâté, all with best before dates of September 18th. The food may be contaminated with listeria bacteria. It won't look or smell spoiled, but infections can be deadly. The Canada Food Inspection Agency says people should throw the food out or return it and make sure to see a doctor if they get sick. Montreal-based singer Jordyn Sugar is gaining momentum online with millions of views on social media, and she's catching the attention of some big names in the music business. Here's Lauren Fernandez.
Jordyn Sugar marches to the beat of her own drum. The 23-year-old singer taught herself to play at just 3 years old. Within a few years, she also learned piano and guitar all by ear.
I would sit for like 4 hours in the basement till I hit a certain run or note that I wanted to hit. Yeah, I did not stop.
She started taking formal drum lessons when she was 10 at the West Island Music Academy.
I remember her playing a Rush tune at the recital, and that was impressive for such a young kid.
School director Joel Avadia quickly took notice. Eventually, Jordyn added singing to her repertoire. And in 2021, it caught the attention of one of her idols.
Justin Bieber took my TikTok video and reposted it to his Instagram story. It's insane how one small gesture that probably took him like 10 milliseconds to do literally changed my life.
That led her to working with one of Celine Dion's producers, and she's even opened up for Gloria Gaynor, where the pair had a memorable interaction.
She offered me chicken wings. So I said, if I don't take one, it's a missed opportunity. I'm gonna kick myself for the rest of my life. So I took a chicken wing, and I was eating chicken wings with Gloria Gaynor.
It's safe to say it's been an eventful past few years. She has new music on the way and says she's excited to see how her single Oops is striking a chord.
250,000 streams in only 3 months, and I'm independent, doing this all on my own and just marketing, you know, on every platform, every social media.
With millions of views on her TikTok videos, she's using her platform for good.
It's important to just be yourself at the end of the day.
It's all part of a movement she's trademarked as Empowered Pop. Lauren Fernandez, CTV News.
Coming up, why this is one of the best years to buy a summer staple. The mental health of teens in Quebec is a growing concern. Data from the province and mental health organizations in recent years have underscored young people are increasingly struggling with their mental health. Most recently, a survey by the organization Tel Jeune found a third of Quebecers ages 12 to 17 say they feel anxiety every week. Joining me now to talk about this is Dr. Tamara Souls. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So first off, were there any surprises for you in the results of the Tel Jeune Léger survey?
I wish I could say I was surprised, but to be honest, this increase has been happening for many years. In fact, even pre-COVID, we've been seeing this rise in youth, teen mental distress. So I was not surprised, and it mirrors what we see in our clinical practice as well.
What do you think is happening here? Why are we seeing mental health concerns rising among teens?
I think we've certainly talked about some of the big players in this picture, the impact of social media, the social comparison that plagues so many young people today. But there are other factors as well. There's increased academic pressure. There is pressure to be involved in so many different things to try to get a good resume and get into a good school. So there's pressures from all sides. And then there's a lot of social disconnection. It's not just the social media influence, it's what screen time takes away from young people, which is time with family, time with friends, direct one-on-one or face-to-face contact. So there are a lot of contributors to this, including perfectionism, pressure, and social disconnection.
Television also noted that girls and LGBTQ2S+ teens are experiencing even more distress. Why is that?
Yes, I think there's many factors. Certainly for girls, there is a lot of social comparison that happens in social media. And it is increasingly happening for boys as well. It's not unique to girls, but it has been traditionally impacting girls to a greater degree. And for the LGBTQ+ community, there are so many factors, but one of the more significant ones is the lack of support, whether that is at home within their family, whether it's in their communities, at their schools, or even in terms of properly trained, clinician-supported help available to these teens who do reach out for help sometimes. So they're increasingly vulnerable and they are at particular risk.
I know there are nuances in a lot of this data. When we talk about experiencing anxiety, once a week, how does that differ from, say, an anxiety disorder?
Yes, I'm glad you made that distinction because certainly the numbers are alarming for anyone who reads this statistic and this report. But there is a difference between experiencing anxiety once a week and an anxiety disorder. It's important to note that many teens are much more aware of what anxiety feels like now. So they're more attuned to it than maybe previous generations. And that can be a good thing. It helps them tune into their own mental health and then figure out how to help themselves through it. So the fact that they're experiencing anxiety weekly isn't necessarily alarming. But once we see that anxiety lead to avoidance of trying new things or avoidance of doing the things that they maybe previously enjoyed because they're worried they're not good enough or they don't look good enough or they're not going to make friends or connect with others. When we start to see that avoidance and we start to see the anxiety impact their day-to-day life, whether that's at school, at home, or socially, that's when we need to take a closer look to see, is this more than just everyday anxiety and are we closer to that anxiety disorder territory?
So big picture, what would you like to see to help young people in the province and what can parents do if they think their child is struggling?
I want to reassure parents, first of all, that they don't have to become mental health experts. I know that this, as a parent myself, this is alarming, of course, but at the same time, our job as parents isn't to be a mental health expert. It's to be attuned and good observers of our children and to be safe places for them to communicate. Because if we can do that, we're already laying a great foundation to help their mental health. So as parents, be aware of significant changes if your child is not enjoying the things they typically do, if they're more withdrawn, if their mood is significantly different than usual. And we're talking a pattern. Everyone has a bad day or two or even a bad week. But if you're starting to notice these things more persistent, then that's something to take note of. And in the same way that we don't necessarily wait for a medical crisis to see a family doctor, we don't need to wait for a mental health crisis to seek support. So checking in with a school psychologist or even consulting as a parent with a mental health professional, saying, this is what I'm observing, what should I do about that? You can do that long before there's a crisis and without necessarily even involving your teen at that stage. But we want to be proactive in noticing these changes in patterns and responding to them. And most of all, when you talk to your teen, come with curiosity, not judgment. Say, hey, I've noticed this difference in how you've been with your friends or how you've been managing school. I'm wondering what's going on. And when we show up with that curiosity of I notice and I wonder, it's much easier for our teens to open up to us.
All right, Dr. Tamara Souls, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me, Angela.
Time now for In Case You Missed It. The weather may not have been great this summer, but for farmers, it's helped for a plentiful harvest, especially for corn. And as Christine Long reports, it also means good prices for consumers.
We did nearly 2,000 dozen corn this past weekend.
Corn sales at Quinn Farm in Notre-Dame-de-l'Île-Perrot are brisk. In fact, everything is ripening and ready for harvest.
Blueberry picking, we also went tomato picking. There are also some jalapenos.
Yep, we got those.
Yet, It's the sweet corn that is most popular these days.
For some reason this year with the cool weather, it all just kind of stagnated, and then boom, they're all ready at the same time.
Fields are being harvested at a pace, and the prices are coming down.
At the beginning of the season, we were $13 a dozen. Now we're down to 10, and next week we're probably going to go down a little bit more and move more corn, more volume.
At their on-site market, it's $13 for 14 ears of corn.
We do a farmer's dozen here, 14 to the dozen for anyone coming to the farm here.
In Saint-Jacques-de-Mineur, le roi de maïs sucré, Jean-Yves Deneau, says the corn is sweeter than last year because of the weather. Plus, his crops are all ready to harvest at the same time. $9 for 13 ears of corn, he says, at the public markets he sells to, and that includes his fuel delivery costs.
So I'd say they're the best in the area.
Back at Quinn Farm, clients say the corn here is worth the drive.
Beautiful. It tastes good, it's sweet, and it's easy, and it's cheap, and it's good price.
Quinn says by the time all the sweet corn is sold, it'll be apple season already. Christine Long, CTV News.
It was a 1-1 draw tonight for CF Montreal against DC United at Saputo Stadium. It was a retro-themed night, and Alexis Sanchez was in the stands. He was acquired by CF Montreal last Tuesday, many hoping he will be the team's savior. Prince Owusu scored Montreal's lone goal early in the second half. DC United's Ty Baribo tied things up in the 67th minute. CF Montreal's next game is Wednesday in Columbus, and that's when Sanchez will play his first game for Montreal. Still to come, vintage Barbies and so much more at MontrealFashionDoll.com.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
An increasing number of abandoned buildings.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVMontreal.ca, your home for news. For breaking news and local news that matters to you, download the CTV News app right now by scanning the QR code on your screen using your smartphone. Or you can also go to our website, CTVNewsMontreal.ca. Weather brought to you by Gratian Scaff's 50th anniversary gift event. Get a complete second pair and sunglasses as a gift.
Taking a look at the forecast, it's currently 19 degrees in Montreal. Partly cloudy skies are expected overnight. Tomorrow we're in store for a mostly gray day, a high of 23 degrees. For the rest of the week, rain is in the forecast for Monday and Tuesday. Temperatures should be hovering in the low to mid-20s for most of the week. Well, an event in Laval today was bringing out a lot of people's inner child. Doll collectors descended on MontrealFashionDoll.com. Hundreds of dolls, including Barbie, Bratz, and American Girl doll, were on display. Some were also for sale, including the coveted first Barbie, valued at $8,000. For many collectors and customers, it's a chance to revisit childhood.
I felt a little shame to be a boy doll lover or doll collector. And it really took me to be in my adult years to take like that power back and feel comfortable with it. And it's been such an amazing creative outlet. And when I see how good it makes me feel, it just naturally was there for me. And I didn't have shame anymore. And I didn't feel bad about it. And the opposite, actually, I feel so proud. And I'm happy to talk about it and share it with people.
Can I just got it from here?
I have quite a big collection of Barbies. That's what I focus in. And about maybe 500 dolls for Barbie, and I'm starting to get up there with integrity. I take these old dolls that may have otherwise been discarded and I bring them back to life. So cleaning them up, resetting their hair, touching up their face paint, and making them essentially look new again. And, you know, it's just like I said, bringing them back to life, giving them a new lease essentially, and, you know, being able to display them.
The organizer wants it to be an annual show and hopes to double its size next year. Well, that's it for us. For the latest news, you can listen to Weekends with Joanne Brackus tomorrow morning at 6 on CJAD 800 or head to ctvnewsmontreal.ca. Have a good night, everyone. Take care.